Oh no. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of OG55 Live. I got George the Italiano here today. We're answering all your questions. We have a lot, I mean a lot of really good questions this time around. Well, we always do. We have a fantastic community. But before we dive into everything, let me go ahead and play the intro, and on the other end, we'll get started. Here we go. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55 Live. We are taking all your questions about theme parks, studio. You want to talk music? You want to talk nerd culture? Whatever it is, you got anything on your mind? Go ahead and put it in the chat, and we'll get to the questions. But George, before we dive in, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. There we go. Let's rock and roll, everybody. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so Dreamy X. Love that icon. I love that skeleton with the hat. It's dope, dude. Really, really dope. With BBT, which is Beyond Big Thunder, planning to be the largest expansion to the Magic Kingdom. Do you guys think Disney will then shift their focus to Fantasyland? Possibly a complete rebuild smaller than Disneyland. And then he goes on to clarify, once the BBT expansion comes online, will Disney then shift their focus to rebuilding Fantasyland? Okay, so that's interesting. George, what are your thoughts on this?
That is quite interesting. Great question, Dreamy X, by the way. Thank you for the great question and joining the chat. I feel like any kind of significant change to any of the Walt Disney World parks right now, they're going to have to add a significant amount into the parks before changing anything that's existing, because despite of how big the Walt Disney World parks are, they have less kind of to do in them as opposite to the Disneyland parks. So I think there has to be a substantial amount that needs to be done in order to do a big overhaul like what Dreamy X is suggesting. And this is why I even think for even the change to Tomorrowland, right. Tomorrowland is not going to be able to be completed or changed or rebuilt or whatever they decide to do with it at either Disney World or Disneyland until they get more substantial things to do, especially with Walt Disney World. So I do think in time, I can see that happening, because if the villains rumor is supposedly going to go into partial of Beyond Big Thunder, that would tie into where Fantasyland is located, because you would go west of Fantasyland, you would have the villains area. Right. I don't think that they would necessarily touch the new Fantasyland area. No. I think it's just more so of the older, outdated medieval section of Fantasyland. Yeah. But I do think if they were to keep the new Fantasyland part open, plus the villains, and then whatever else is going to go beyond Big Thunder, right. I could definitely see them changing Fantasyland up, which I hope they do, because Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland is just deplorable.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, the old parts are bad, because like I went this last summer with you, George, and first time, and it's not a uniform aesthetic at all. You have that very old school kind of medieval look, and then mixed in with the new Fantasyland. They need to address that eventually. Right now, it's not on their priority list, because like Dreamy said, we have to do Beyond Big Thunder. There's things they have to handle first. But they got to circle back to that eventually and fix that, because it's a mishmash and it's just aesthetically not very pleasing. So yeah, it's interesting. Now maybe is in the chat. Our friend maybe she was laughing about the eagle sound. Maybe I'm telling you, you know what that eagle sound is for. You know. It's for Yunjin and LE SSERAFIM. They're playing at Coachella this weekend. Oh, actually, they played Coachella yesterday, and they're playing again next weekend. There we go. Shameless plug. But I had to do it. Okay, let's go to our next question. T.S. Wade is asking, should I trust Dana Walden as CEO of Disney? I tried to give her a chance if she's chosen, but I don't know if she's the right person to be the next Disney CEO. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. No, look, Wade, it's good that you have a healthy skepticism. You know, you don't want to go in there with anybody. I don't care who it is, Wade. I don't care who it is. You don't want to go in there and just blindly support anybody, right? So you should go in there with hey, you know what? Is she the right person for the job? Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. I think she's got a fantastic resume. Obviously, she's capable and competent. She's a brilliant woman. She's done a lot of good things. There's questions I have with her, though. We've heard rumors of her thoughts on Lucasfilm and things like that, which I'm not really on the same page with her and stuff like that. But here's the thing too, Wade. If I would have told you years ago that, hey, we're going to take the Disney CFO, Chief Financial Officer of the Walt Disney Company, Tom Staggs, the head accountant, basically, right? The money guy. And we're going to have him run the parks division. You'd have the same kind of worry, I think, right? You'd worry oh man, is he the right person for the job? Because he's the money guy, and you're gonna have a money guy running really this creative division of the company. It doesn't seem like a good fit. And he turned out to be, speaking of new Fantasyland, Tom Staggs turned out to be a fantastic parks chief. Okay, so it's okay, and I would maintain that healthy skepticism, Wade, but don't stress out too much over it. Number one, and number two. Let's give her a chance. You just don't know until they get in there. Remember, Dana Walden right now is doing what she has to do to impress Bob Iger. The leadership that she shows when she becomes CEO, or if she becomes CEO, might be very different than that of Bob Iger. We don't know, for better or worse. So let's give her a chance. But, Wade, it's good to have that healthy skepticism. You don't want to blindly follow anyone. Even if it's Tom Staggs, who we all love, you should still be skeptical. You should still, just don't go in there blindly supporting anybody. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I agree. There's even some things right now I'm skeptical about Dana Walden. And I think, again, it's healthy, it's normal. I think we all kind of have to have somewhat of a guard up, but not have it too secured that to give someone a chance, you can't really write them off without actually seeing their work as a CEO. But even to then, you're bound to eventually find something that you're not going to agree with anybody. It's just inevitable. Right. You can find positivity and negativity in someone no matter what they do, especially when they are basically running the Walt Disney Company. You're going to bump into someone that you're not going to agree with, and that's okay. That's normal, so it's I am skeptic about Dana Walden, but I mean, if she is the chosen one, so,
you're
then,
the chosen
one. Then I say we should give her a chance and see what she's capable of doing.
Open mind, absolutely open mind. Now personally, I would take her over Daddy Josh. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think Disney, and I know my park people are going to get so mad at me for saying this, but Disney's a studio first. It is. It's a studio first, and they own theme parks and they own cruise lines. Disney has always been a studio. Roy Disney, the nephew, said that. If you watch Waking Sleeping Beauty, he says Disney was, is, and will always be. I mean, the heartbeat of Disney was, is, and will always be the film business. Okay, that was Roy Disney said that, and I agree with him. So you need a studio person running this thing. Okay, the theme. You don't want a theme park guy, and I'll be honest with you, Hollywood did not like the last theme park guy, Chapek, and I think that in terms of this theme park guy, which is Daddy Josh, I just don't think he's ready for prime time, in my opinion.
And me personally, I don't even think Chapek was even right to be the parks guy. You essentially picked a consumer products person to become parks to then become CEO.
That's fair, George. That's fair. A lot of people. That's a good point, man. Because a lot of people think, yeah, you're right. Because a lot of people think, oh, he's a parks guy, and he technically was at the end, but he was a consumer products guy. Chapek was the guy who spearheaded the Disney Vault with the DVDs.
Now that I will have to say, that was quite genius in his own right, because I was one of those suckers that it was like when I saw the commercial, and it's like, get it before it's gone, and you see the DVD going into the vault and it's spinning, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get to the store and get it before it's gone. And it's like,
they worked you, George. They got in your head, bro. I'm telling you, no, Chapek is actually very creative when it comes to ways to make money. He really is. I'm not even being sarcastic. He really is.
He made it look easy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you threw me off guard, bro. Hey, it's La Seraphim's weekend. We're gonna give some love to our girls. Here we go. There we go. There we go. BJ Vincent is in the house. Hey, OG and George, do you feel the Disney company should go back to having a two-person team to run the Walt Disney Company, like we saw with Michael Eisner, who was the creative half of Frank Wells? Yes, yes, yes. George and I have been singing that song for a long, long time. I don't even remember how long. It's been years probably that we've been saying that. You got to have that. Look, the company was founded on that with Roy and Walt. That creative half and that financial half. Now here's the thing with Walt and Roy, it really worked because it was they were brothers, so they were kind of stuck with each other. You know what I'm saying? I can see how, I think it's a good idea, don't get me wrong, but I can also see how it can get messy because a lot of times when you have these executives, there's a lot of ego involved with some of this stuff. So you just have to kind of, even though you have a two-person team, you still got to find the right people, you know what I'm saying? And two people that push back on each other, but at the same time are willing to work with each other. So it's not exactly easy to find that. It's still going to be a challenge. But I think that if you can find the correct duo, that's the best way to go about it. And Michael Eisner and Frank Wells were the GOAT. Those first 10 years of the Michael Eisner era were absolutely insane. It was so good. So good.
So good.
I mean, it rivaled, honestly, I got to say, man, and I love Walt Disney, right? But that first 10 years of Michael Eisner's era, some of the stuff they did in those first 10 years rivaled the stuff that even Walt did. I mean, I can put Beauty and the Beast up against any of the Walt era movies, and it would hold its own. It really would. So it was
a movie that Walt couldn't even get right, because that was a movie that he attempted to try to make way before. I think it was like in the 40s that he tried to adapt Beauty and the Beast, and he just couldn't get it right. And the book went back on the shelf. And many years later, the company did it again under the leadership of Eisner and Wells, and I mean, slam dunk to that, because I mean, Beauty and the Beast is by far my all-time favorite Disney animated feature. And honestly, I believe, I would actually say it's in my top 10 best movies of all time.
Wow. Now you support this? You support the dual?
Absolutely. Yeah, I still, yes, I do think you do have to be careful. You can't just choose just any two random. You have to make sure that they work well with each other, but you want that similarity of chemistry, but then you also want that kind of little bit of friction, because you don't want one to overshadow the other. So you have to have that chemical balance.
Well, and it's interesting too. We talked about Dana Walden. If you had a Dana Walden, Tom Staggs duo, that'd
be perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, a lot of people are worried about Dana Walden. A lot of theme park people are worried about Dana Walden because she doesn't have that theme park experience. Well, Tom Staggs does, and Tom Staggs has seen that he can work very well with creatives. So you would have Dana Walden, who's very competent, very very capable woman, mixed with Tom Staggs. I think that could work. I think that would be a pretty solid leadership team. You'd have maybe like Dana as a CEO, and you would have Tom Staggs as either the president or the co-CEO, depending on how they want to structure that. But not a bad idea. Yeah. So we'll see. BJ Vincent here says, hey, OG and George, with Disney releasing the third entry to the Tron movies, Tron Heiress, what older Disney movie, 80s and 90s, would you like to see a sequel to? For example, The Black Hole, Something Wicked, This Way Come, Dragon Slayer, etc. That's tough, man, because there aren't a whole lot of good Disney live action movies, at least in the 80s. They were kind of on the struggle bus, but I wouldn't mind. Oh man, this is tough. Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna have a huge asterisk. Okay, and caveat to this one. Okay.
Okay.
If they can get Steven Spielberg, okay, this is a huge if, big asterisk. Okay, if they can get Steven Spielberg, and if they can give him like carte blanche, kind of, and they can work out all the deals with other studios, I wouldn't mind them revisiting Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but all those things need to happen though, dude. Like you can't just have anybody do it. Like you need Steven Spielberg. I want Steven, like
would you want Robert Zemeckis back too?
Yes, absolutely. You get the band back together again, and you have them really cook up a really cool, whether it's a prequel, whether it's a sequel, I don't care what they do. I trust Spielberg. I trust Zemeckis to do a really fine job on that. I think that'd be really, really cool. And then you can incorporate some of these other studios now, maybe work with like Universal with some of their animation, and partner with them. I think it'd be a lot of fun, man. But you need the right team behind that. And if you can't do it without Steven and Zemeckis, and I think even Ron Howard was involved with that one, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
It could be. I don't remember if he was.
But that movie was just such a slam dunk. But
yeah, that one was like a once in a blue moon type of thing. Like the stars were aligned perfectly for that movie, because to get Mickey and Bugs in the same shot, like that was like they had to have the same screen time, the same amount of screen time that Mickey got. Bugs had to get the same, otherwise it was no go.
It was no go. Exactly. So yeah, I would do that. I mean, I would love to see that. There aren't too many other Disney 80s movies that I would really want to see them like Black Hole and stuff. Nah, not really. I got to be honest, 90s. I don't know. They've kind of tapped into the 90s quite a bit already, right? They did the Mighty Ducks show on Disney Plus.
Hocus Pocus.
They did a sequel to Hocus Pocus. There's not a whole lot.
Here's my thing, and this I might be taking the easy route. I honestly, I don't really would want anything, to be honest with you. I am so sick and tired of reboots and sequels. It's not even funny. Like, I want to see more hard edge original material. Like, I don't, because it just feels like it's a cop out. It feels like you got so much great talent working at these companies, and it feels like when they go with like these sequels and reboots, it's just
I feel you. No, I feel you, George, because, we're kind of all tapped out with this because I think of the live action remakes. We're kind of thirsty for some originality again. I want to see Walt Disney Studios give us some original live action stuff that's not connected to some old animated movie, or like give us an original story. I
want to see more Muppets. I would love to see the Muppets come back, because they came back pretty hot for a little bit back in 2011, I believe.
Yeah, like 10 or 11, I believe. Yeah. Muppets are so good. How can you not love the Muppets? How can you not love? I had a friend, actually. I'm not going to out anybody, but I had a friend who did not like the Muppets. I don't know. Wow. I don't know why she didn't like them, but she did not like them, and I just found that to be extremely unsettling. I don't know. How do you not like the Muppets? Like, who doesn't like them? I don't know. Suave CLT, do you have a favorite character meet and greet memory? I've heard Gaston can be memorable. Also, what's the rarest character you've met? I've heard of characters not showing up in over a decade before. Wow. Well, George, go ahead. Who's your favorite character meet and greet memory? Do you have one? Or?
Yes, I do, actually. This one's actually kind of funny. It was back in the early 2000s. It was around the millennium time. We were eating at 1900 Park Fair, which, by the way, if all you don't know, 1900 Park Fair is officially back opened again after 4 years. It's
Has it been that long?
It's been that long. It's been closed since the Pandy. Yeah,
Dude, I didn't know it was that long. That's crazy.
yeah. I think it was actually the final restaurant to actually open at Walt Disney World. Everything else is open. That took forever.
Wow.
But for all of you who don't know, 1900 Park Fair is the buffet style restaurant that you could find in the Grand Floridian. Now, during that time, they had a villains meet and greet dinner where you can meet some villains like the Queen of Hearts, Captain Hook, the witch from the old crone from Snow White and what have you, Cruella de Vil, and Prince John from Robin Hood. And I was up at the buffet and all the characters were making their rounds. Now, I don't know if this was part of how it was back then, but like today, if you happen to miss a character, a cast member usually comes around and says, "Hey, did you get to meet so-and-so yet?" And they'll make sure that they make their rounds. I don't think that was a thing back in that time. It was like, if you met them, you met them. If you didn't, you didn't. So I was up at the buffet and Prince John came by my table, which no one was sitting at the time because we were up getting the food. And I was on a mission to meet as many characters as I could. During that trip, I ended up meeting 64 characters, and I have all their signatures in the autograph book. I still got it till today. So I literally shouted out to him. I literally the whole restaurant echoed. I turned and I said, "Wait, stop!" And then, like everyone, just like all eyes went on me. He turned and he looked at me because he was looking like, "Is he?" And I said, "Yes, you." I said, "That's our table. You wait right there. I'll be right there." So I literally had him standing there until I got back to the table.
Oh my God. When was this? How long ago was this?
This was 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And actually to the second part of the question, I actually have to add Prince John. Prince John, the Sheriff of Nottingham, and Friar Tuck I met all in that same trip. And you don't really see too many of the Robin Hood characters. No. So those were my rarity characters.
Yeah, actually, my rarity ones, and actually a good moment one was actually when we went on the when George and I went to the Oogie Boogie Bash recently, back in what was it, September, George? September, yeah. And so the first character interaction was Cruella de Vil because she was fantastic. She was making fun of the way we were dressed, right? Like she was like,
we were like dressed like just normies, and she's just like looking us up and down like you poor pathetic souls.
Yeah, she was like analyzing our shoes and everything, you know, and it was really funny. So that was a great character interaction, and shout out, like we always do, shout out to tour guide Jackie. Oogie Boogie Bash. She was literally the best cast member we've ever had, ever. So she's awesome. But like, yeah, the Cruella de Vil experience was really funny. It was really funny to like seeing her roast us and stuff like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And the same night, there were actually two rare characters that we didn't, well, I guess we didn't really meet, but we saw, was Madame Mim from Sword in the Stone and Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit, which those characters you never see anywhere. So that was really cool to see those up close. We didn't really interact with them, but we got to see them, you know.
I think Madame Mim was phenomenal.
She was so funny.
She was spot on.
Yeah, she was great. She was absolutely great. And that's another movie. It's like Robin Hood. Like, when do you see Sword in the Stone characters? You know?
Exactly.
Not really, you know. Trip Johnson. Trip, is always good to see you, man. He says, "Hey gang, do you guys watch Mystery Science Theater 3000? If so, what's your favorite episode?" When I was a kid, I used to watch that. I used to love that show back in like the 90s on Comedy Central. It's really good. But I got to say, I loved the show. It's been so long, Trip, since I've actually seen it, though. I couldn't tell you what my favorite episode was. It's been like 25 years or something since I've watched it. But it's a good show. It really is. If anyone, I don't know even where it's playing now. I don't even know like if it's on a streaming platform. I'm sure there's some of it on YouTube. But if you're not familiar with it, you should definitely check it out. It's these cute little robots, and they kind of comment on movies and what have you, and it's really a really good time. So check it out if you can. But what do you think, George? Have you ever seen this movie or this show? I'm sorry.
No, I haven't. I'm trying to like picture if I ever saw anything. I was more like on Comedy Central. I was more of a South Park and Crank Yankers kind of guy.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. No, this was you're in your early 30s, so you might have been. You might have been too young, because I think it might have been, this show when it was like in its heyday was like probably 25, 30 years ago. So you might have been too young, but it's a great one though. You should check it out on like YouTube or find it somewhere. And you know, it's funny. It really is. They just watch movies and they just kind of talk shit and make fun of it. It's great. It's really great. And they're like these little droids from like, I wouldn't say like Star Wars-y droids. They're more like Captain EO, kind of like Misfit kind of droids a little bit, you know, and they're just funny, really, really funny. CSRS here says, while there have been rumors that Hollywood studios will get some expansion, there has been no rumors as to the theme. Is it possible that it might be a catch-all land like Animation Land? What do you think, George? You think that?
Yeah, so yeah, there have been talks for quite some time that Hollywood Studios is definitely supposedly going to get some sort of expansion. As far as I know, that they're looking behind the animation courtyard where the launch bay is. There's an expansion pad back there that leads into where Rock and Roller Coaster and Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy is. Me personally, I would utilize that expansion pad, connect it to the animation courtyard, and retheme Rock and Roller Coaster and just completely level that whole thing out. I don't think they're going to do that with the animation courtyard. To this point, I still don't even know why they even call it animation courtyard, because it has absolutely nothing to do, because that's where the old animation building used to be, where Mulan, actually, majority of Mulan was produced. And right now it's just
Star Wars, right?
It's Star Wars Launch Bay, the Disney Junior live stage building, and then where the new well, I can't say new, but the revival of the Little Mermaid show is going to go. But I don't know. I don't even think they even gave us a release opening date for the Little Mermaid. So who's even to say if Disney's even going to do that, or if they do, is it going to tie into what the expansion's going to be? Because Star Wars Launch Bay, the Little Mermaid, and Disney Junior. I mean, come on, it's like there's no cohesiveness back there.
There's none. I mean, look, you have like Hollywood Studios, you know, you can get away with edgier stuff in that park. It's not a castle park, right? So you have this $70 billion investment in Fox. So maybe lean into some of that stuff. You know, why not do an Alien attraction? Why not do I don't know, even Deadpool? Maybe if you can do it, I don't know, with the contract with Universal. I don't think Universal has any lock on Deadpool. There are things you can do, I think, with this edgier Fox stuff that you might be able to put into Hollywood studios. You know, stuff like that you can't put anywhere else. I would kind of think a little bit outside the box. I agree with you. Animation Courtyard isn't even about animation anymore. It's kind of pointless. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what direction they take with it. But that park definitely needs. I liked Hollywood Studios. I mean, it impressed me more than I thought it would. But it definitely needs that area, especially the animation area. It needs something. It needs to be grazed, completely bulldozed, and something else put there, and give us something, you know, impressive. So,
yeah, really quick, bro. Before you continue on, if you could hold your place, if you could come all the way down to the bottom. There's someone here that we haven't seen in a while in the chat.
Is that Kaylee?
No, all the way down at the bottom, Mr. Rudio.
Oh, Rudio. Oh. Rudio is in the house. Hold on one sec. We got Rudio in the house? Hold on one sec. There we go. Rudio here, friend of the channel. Rudio has actually been on the channel a few times back in the day, a few years ago. But Rudio, it's good to see you, brother. Happy Sunday, fellas. Question. What do you need from a successful Saturday night D23 Parks and Experiences panel for you to end that stream with a big smile on your faces? George.
Ooh. Okay. I think at this point, I think anything that doesn't end with a maybe, might be, could be, should be, would be, what if, come along the journey with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that kind of solidifies the notion that, hey, it's green lit. I know we've been getting a lot of news lately about like announcements like with the new Disney cruise ship of the Destiny, and we're seeing some things coming out of like the new Imagineering little series on YouTube. But I think what D23 is going to do is kind of like get more into detail on those announcements. But I'd be happy, honestly, with the Dino Land change up. I would like to know a little more above the Beyond Big Thunder. That one has got me really intrigued. I don't think we're going to get. Obviously, that project is getting greenlit, but I think a lot of the ideas that they're going to throw out at us is not going to be the actual ones. I think they're just trying to play with that project a little bit more till they kind of pick the right IPs for that section. I could be wrong. I mean, if they really greenlit the whole entire thing at this upcoming D23, that would that would make me very ecstatic, to say the least. I'm trying to think if there was anything else, and then of course, if we get anything with Disneyland Forward, I think, yeah. I think for me, the top thing is Disneyland Forward and Beyond Big Thunder.
Yeah, I want to know more details on Pandora. You know, it's pretty obvious at this point. It's a land. You know, with the concept art and everything, it's pretty obvious. But what would make me have a big smile on my face would be if we get this amazing land, and wherever they put it, it makes sense. Because that's my biggest fear right now with Pandora. I'm not worried about the quality. We got James Cameron involved with this thing. This is going to be a top tier land, no matter where they put it. But I'm worried because, Rudio, we're hearing that this land might actually go into DCA, and is that going to make sense in that park? Are they going to take the time to explain that and tie that in to that park? That's what worries me the most. So I hope that we get details on Pandora, where it's going, and that wherever it is going and how it's going into that park, it makes sense. So I think that's my priority. I also want to hear about this Avengers e-ticket. It's been way too long. And I understand, look, a lot of fans are really hard on Disney with this. It's been so many years. They've been promising this. I understand the frustration, fandom, but at the same time, that whole project was kind of being mapped out like at the worst time. It was like right before the pandy. You had not only the pandy, but then you had a CEO swap. You know what I'm saying? You had all kinds of problems with the initial concept, and they're not meeting the capacity standards for what Disney wanted. So there were a lot of like technical, logistical issues as well with it. It just was met with a lot of issues. So I want to see them finally come up with something really awesome, really impressive for that Avengers e-ticket. It doesn't even have to be an Avengers e-ticket. If they want to do just a Marvel e-ticket when it's like it's X-Men. Do something like that. That's cool too. You know what I'm saying? But give DCA and give Avengers Campus a big Marvel e-ticket. I think that would put a smile on my face for sure. And I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I think I'm pretty good. I mean, if they give us both of those, I think I'd be pretty happy, to be honest with you, for the park stuff. Now, I agree with you on the Florida stuff, Beyond Big Thunder, the Animal Kingdom, expansions, things like that. So yeah, they just have to announce. They just have to give us some big announcements, some big concrete announcements. The problem with these last few expos was that Daddy Josh, would like kind of, he would give us this concrete stuff for like maybe like a San Francisco, but the big stuff was like never like confirmed. It was always like, what if? He needs to go into this expo and give us big stuff that's greenlit and confirmed, like we're ready to like shovel in the ground, dig, and start building this thing. We need big stuff, green lit, no more maybe, coulda, woulda, shoulda stuff. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I have a feeling though, I was talking to George yesterday on a video that we did last night. The energy has shifted. I can kind of sense it. There's been a disturbance in the force with this stuff, and I feel like big things are coming. I could be wrong.
Something that you have foreseen.
Yeah, something that I have foreseen, a vision, and something in the force. I can just I in all seriousness, I can feel that there is something coming because there's a lot of smoke. Hopefully, there's some fire. So we'll see.
Yep. Couple things. Another thing that I would be ecstatic over is if they were to get on that stage and they were to say that Magical Express is coming back to Walt Disney World.
I don't know why they got rid of that.
Yeah, that should have never. The fact that it went away. And it's still away is beyond what my
Because why are you going to try? Like, of all the things to cut, right? Why would you cut Magical Express? The thing that makes it easier for people to be in your bubble, as they call it, the Disney bubble. Why would you get rid of that? Why would you get rid of that convenience? I don't understand that. I don't understand that, George.
It still baffles me to this day. It really does.
Now, okay, they were using a third-party bus.
It was through Mears. It was a contract through Mears. Now Mears still does their own independent services, but I think through Disney, I don't know if Disney had to pay them a fee or what have you. But even if they were to incorporate that into our vacation packages, I don't care. Give us something, anything really.
I just don't understand that decision. I don't understand the mindset. And how much could that that collaboration with Mears have cost them? I mean, whatever it cost you, I can't imagine financially. Like, I feel like the financial benefit outweighs the investment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's such a huge benefit. Like, it's just a no-brainer. And we'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe that'll be the thing they bring back. I hope so.
And Rudio, thank you so much for the question. So glad to see you, bro.
Yes.
Hopefully that when I'm out in California, that we could possibly meet up. Let us know. Yeah,
absolutely.
And before you move back up to your thing, Starship 824 says, no more maybe. I think you know what that means.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's only one maybe. There's only one maybe that we love here on OG55, and it's our friend Maybe.
Cause I'm that girl that drives you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe.
There we go. Big shout out to Maybe. All right, here we go. Give me 1 second here. I'm just kind of working my way back up here for a second. Let's get all the way up. Okay, here we go. So we have CSRS. If Hollywood Studios was going to get something new by 2027 or 2028, wouldn't there need to be permits filed by now to demo all that stuff behind the animation courtyard? I mean, it's something. To open something by 2027, 2028, there'd have to be permits and probably the construction has to already start.
I think, the construction would have already been started, which means they would have already made the announcement. I think they're going to focus on Animal Kingdom first. To be honest with you, CS, I feel like that because obviously the permits are filed. They're starting to kind of get the construction trailers ready and everything with the back road that's behind Expedition Everest that'll lead into Dino Land, where I think they're going to focus on that first. I think now they may make some suggestions and hints. Now this might be the kind of, what if and maybe kind of stuff that, Damara will give us, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with getting hints and possibilities and ideas that could potentially happen, as long as we get actual green-lit projects on top of that. I want more of the biscuits and gravy than just the plate itself.
Right, exactly. And give me just a second, George. I'm just pulling something up real quick because we're going to talk about this in a second. Okay. You would have to, for Hollywood Studios, you would definitely have to, if you wanted by 2027, 2028, you're going to have to, you're going to have to get that going very, very soon. But like George was saying, I think Animal Kingdom is the focus right now, and rightfully so. I mean, that park, for me personally, Animal Kingdom is an atmosphere park, an environment park, and that's more my speed with theme parks. I like enjoying the atmosphere. I'm not really I need to hit every ride. I'm not like one of the people, and George has been theme parking with me. I'm not one of the people that's on the Genie Plus and okay, we just got done with one ride. Let's book another one or whatever. I'm not that guy. I'm fine with going to Animal Kingdom and just having a beer and just enjoying the trees. I'm cool.
Having a beer, enjoying the trees.
I'm totally fine with that, dude.
Dude, I am so getting you a t-shirt that says that.
You know what I'm saying? That's my style. So yeah, that is funny.
But CS, really quick, I do think that probably it won't be open by 2027. I actually think they'll probably, if they do decide on an expansion for Disney's Hollywood Studios, I think that's probably when they'll start breaking ground in 2027. I think, anyways.
That's a good theory. Absolutely. CSRS here says, since Disneyland Forward is going to be given the green light, do you think the rumored Hollywood expansion could also be a clone for DCA as well? And could it possibly be teased at or shortly after the Disneyland Forward announcement? Here's the thing, CSRS. Based on what we know, Ken Potrock, the president of Disneyland, went to Asia, actually, to look at a lot of these new lands in Asia, whether it be Shanghai, Hong Kong, even Tokyo, I think. I think the Disneyland Forward stuff is more likely to be one of those. I got to be honest with you, than something from Hollywood Studios. I just be based on him going there like recently. It was only a few months ago, and even in that article that had all that, they were even saying they were looking into it possibly being Disneyland Forward related. So I think it's more likely there's like a Zootopia or an Arendelle in the future for Disneyland Forward than anything from the Hollywood Studios expansion. This is my guess, but what do you think, George?
Now, CS. Do you know? I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I could see if you write it in. Do you know a lot of the specifics for the Disney's Hollywood Studios rumored expansion? I do know like they were considering possibly going back and forth with the Disney villains, either Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios. Am I missing anything else? I even think there was even some talk about the Lion King. To be honest with you, I mean, if the Lion King was going to go in anywhere, I would definitely put it in Animal Kingdom. I don't know why they wouldn't, but is there any other rumors that I'm missing where it could potentially go into DCA? Okay, Teo saying, I've been hearing villains and monster. I'm assuming Monsters Inc. for Hollywood Studios. Is that what you mean, Teo? Or just that's overall villains and monsters?
Oh, villains and monsters. Yeah, I think you might just mean villains and monsters.
Villains and monsters, okay.
See, but that's weird though, isn't it? For that park? Yeah, I don't know.
I would still put villains in Magic Kingdom because it'll tie in great with Fantasyland.
That's what I'm saying. You have Fantasyland, and then you go through and you get like the dark, twisted version.
Oh no, Teo says he believes so. Monsters Inc. Now, actually, that does make sense because I spoke to Imagineer back in 2011 when I did the dining with an Imagineer it was at Hollywood Studios. We ate at the Hollywood Brown Derby, and he told me that they actually had blueprints and concept art ready that Rock and Roller Coaster was supposed to be reimagined for Monsters Inc. It was supposed to be like the epic door chase at the end of the movie where Randall was chasing Mike and Sully to get Boo. So I don't know, maybe that's still on the table. And I could see that a lot of Pixar being in Hollywood Studios. I really honestly wouldn't. If you haven't checked out our video before, the one we covered, the rumors of Cars Land and a Woody's Roundup attraction over at Magic Kingdom, I can't foresee that going there. But anything Pixar, I would put in Hollywood Studios, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would put a little bit of a caveat on anything Pixar because I do think there is some Pixar stuff that would work in Magic Kingdom. Like I think Brave is kind of a Disney princessy kind of movie. I think that would be fine if they want to go Brave, they can do that. I think Coco works in a Magic Kingdom park. I don't know. There's certain Pixar films that kind of feel a little bit more on the Disney side. And there's certain Pixar films that are like all in on the Pixar, you know, like a Monsters Inc., for example, is so Pixar, you know, Cars, that's so Pixar. Like these are franchises that need to stay in like Hollywood Studios. And that's just, you know, just me being a weird nerd, I guess. I mean, I don't think the normies give a shit, but like for me personally, that's how I see it. But, you know, CSRS, I measured Pandora at Animal Kingdom on Google Earth. It came out to about 9.885 acres. So technically it could fit in Hollywoodland if you took out the bus load area. Why do you now think it's likely to end up in the Symbolot? Okay, so yes, I've heard the rumors, and a lot of people in this community have, that Pandora is going to go into Hollywoodland. So that whole area, what CSRS is talking about, is going to be Muppets, Hollywood and Dine, and the Monsters, Inc. attraction, and the bus load, unload area behind that, okay? And that's a sizable area. I think it's about, if I'm not mistaken, what was it, George? I think it was about like 9 acres.
It was about 9, I believe. Yeah, it was like 8.5, 9 acres.
Yeah, but here's the thing, CRS. Before I go on, I thought the Animal Kingdom and Pandora was 12 acres.
That's what I thought. I could have sworn that they said it was about 12 acres, unless I don't know if that is covering backstage area at all, but they would still need backstage area.
You would need that, yeah. So here's the thing. You could probably fit a version of Pandora in that spot. I agree with you. 9 acres or 7 to 9, I would say, for that Hollywood land is probably big enough for something. The problem, and where my mind is kind of shifting now a little bit, because I agree with you. I thought it was going to go in that Hollywood land area just based on all the rumors we heard and from various sources that are solid. You know, everyone's saying Hollywood land, but then they released this concept art, man, and it's like I can't see that going. That looks bigger than 9 acres to me. But again, it's just concept art, so who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I look at this going, look at the body of water. And that massive building behind it with the water, like that's going to fit where that Monsters Inc. area is and the busload behind it. I can't envision it. If they can pull it off, look, and to Disney's credit, they've been very good at space management at Disneyland Resort, much better than at Walt Disney World. They managed to take a 15-acre Star Wars land and put it behind the Rivers of America, and we basically lost nothing. We lost a barbecue place and a petting zoo. Okay, that's it. Pretty much. Well, they shortened the Rivers of America. Okay. But they're
a barbecue place and a petting zoo. It sounds like my Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. Right, George? Yeah, exactly. You sexy beastie, you sexy beast. No, but like, I don't know. Look, if they could fit this over there, that's cool. I think DCA needs a cool attraction. I think the way that you justify Pandora in DCA is Hollywood land. That's the really only way you can justify it, We'll see. And to your credit, CSRS, all the rumors are pointing to Hollywood land. I mean, everything I've heard is it's going into Hollywood land. So I don't know, but I think it would make it a little, if they're going to put in DCA, that area would make sense. It's just a little tighter though than like that symbol lot. But what do you think, George? What's your speculation, brother?
Yeah, so I do apologize, folks. We got the hype train in the background.
Did you say hype train?
I think I did.
I must have hit that track switch.
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah, this one has got me scratching my head. I'm more curious to see like what the final decision making is at D23, because they're going to have to make some sort of announcement one way or the other of what park is this going in? What location of that said park is like, this is like the longest stretch that Disney has ever given us on kind of being kind of the unknown of like what they're actually doing. And it makes me wonder even more that this is going to go into DCA because Disney is beating around the bush of giving us actual answers. Why can't they give us actual answers? Because technically Disneyland Forward has not been greenlit yet. Yes, exactly. And here's the other thing too. We talked about it in the video from last night, right? Disneyland Paris's second gate, the Walt Disney Studio Park, is getting a complete reimagining. Okay. They're changing the name to Disney's Adventure World, which not a fan of that name, but it is what it is. At least the park is going to be improved, at least they're going to fix Jay Rizzullo's mess, basically, yes. Right? That's positive news. Okay. But here's the thing. If Disney's willing to re-theme the Paris park, they were willing to change the name they had to change the name for Disney MGM to Hollywood Studios, but they've done it twice now. Okay. I'm not so sure that they're not going to do that with DCA. That's another element here. That's another piece of the puzzle here. We might get an announcement, say at D23, we have a new direction for DCA, similar to what they said for the Paris part. Yeah.
And it's going to be Disney Cinematic Adventure or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now, keep in mind too, guys and gals, that be careful what you wish for, because a lot of fans want them to do that. They want them to change the theme of DCA. If they do that, understand that anything in that park that does not have an IP now will need to have an IP to fit the new theme. So if you call it Disney Cinematic Adventure, That's great because now all the IP stuff makes sense, right? But what about Grizzly Peak? That's going to have to change. You're going to have to make that some sort of IP. What about California, or what about Soarin' Over the World? You're going to have to add an IP to that because it's cinematic adventure. You can't have this non-IP stuff in this park anymore. So it's a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I think that, I'm open to either way. I just want them to do it really well. Is basically kind of where I'm at with it. But we'll see. CSRS, I do believe at D23 though, we will find out where this thing is going, and that'll give us a little bit of a better understanding. I don't know if they're going to tell us exactly where. Like if they're not, I don't know if they're going to get into detail, like as to like where in the park we're going to get it, but we'll definitely know which park it's going into, and then we can kind of work from there.
Do you think we're even going to get that news even like a day or two after Disneyland Forward gets approved?
It's possible. They've been on an announcement roll lately. They've been announcing all kinds of stuff. Look how many announcements they gave Walt Disney World after the DeSantis nonsense was over.
Yeah.
Maybe after Disneyland Forward's approved on Tuesday. Maybe they'll just, unload everything and just like, here you go, guys. And then what they do is they make the announcement now, and then at the expo, then they give you the details, like what you were talking about, George, right? Yeah. CSRS here says, based on what you have heard with the Avengers e-ticket, if it gets announced at D23, do you think they will announce a timeline? And if they do announce a timeline, would it likely be 2027 or 2028?
Probably the year that I collect my first Social Security check is about the same amount of time that this attraction is going to be up and running.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be up. Well, what is it, 2024 now?
Yeah.
Maybe 2028 probably at the earliest. Unless they're low key starting to work on it now. Right? Unless they're low-key working on it now. They might be clearing stuff that we're not aware of. They might be getting everything prepped. Because remember, it's behind Mission Breakout.
The building wasn't already built yet, correct? They still have to build the actual building itself.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so you're probably looking at...
I think it's just cast member parking right now, from what I understand.
Okay, so yeah, you're probably looking at... Yeah, I would say about 3 or 4 years, 2027, 2028.
Yeah, if they announce it at the expo. Yeah. Probably 2028, maybe, ish. So we'll see, and we'll see if it's even an Avengers ride. We'll see. Maybe they just go like a Marvel thing. Like just a more of a broader Marvel thing. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see though. But that land needs it. That land needs some sort of big draw, big e-ticket. I know Mission Breakout is part of it, but because it opened in 2017, it still feels separate. I don't know why. It just feels.
It does. It does not feel like it's part of the campus at all. It really doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. Some fans really believe that Once Upon a Studio, amazingly, should have been a full-length feature to celebrate Disney's 100 instead of Wish. What do you guys think of this idea? Based on the story for Once Upon a Studio, it's a pretty simplistic story. I can't see them stretching that out over 2 hours, or even an hour and a half. So, no, I would disagree with that. I don't think that short, I don't think there's enough meat on them bones to go an hour and a half. I just don't, Now, here's the thing. If you want to have a full-length animated feature for the 100th featuring Mickey Mouse, I think that would have been a better idea, probably. Yeah. That would have been a great idea. Have Mickey's have a full-length animated feature based on Mickey, some big adventure he goes on. I think that'd be really cool.
I would love to see something like that, sort of along the lines of what they did with the Goofy movie. Because I absolutely love that film. It's one of my favorites. And believe it or not, it was actually produced by Disney Toon Studios.
It was, but I think I could see eye to eye with you on that. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it was. Wasn't it Disney Toon, I believe?
Well, you have to think, OJ, you do that, you definitely stand out.
Exactly. I don't know. Yeah, but Goofy movie was amazing. It really was. That really turned out to be one of Disney's. Who would have thought, man? I
think it got bigger as time went on.
Yeah.
I was always in love with that movie, but I think as time went on and us, my generation, your generation kind of got older and had more better respect for it. And I think Disney kind of saw that. And now it's they have t-shirts and, apparel and everything. They play the music during certain events and what have you. So I'm glad that Goofy's getting love.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he has like that, that movie has like Easter eggs in the queue area for Runaway Railway at Disneyland, the power line and all that stuff. So I think it's cool. I love that. It's been, like you said, it's become like, as time has gone on, as that generation has become adults, it's a fan favorite, and it's so 90s. It's so 90s.
Oh, it screams 90s.
With what, is it Tevin Campbell?
Tevin Campbell.
Yeah. Got myself a notion. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I might have to watch that movie again.
I know that you'll understand to set the world in motion.
Oh shit. Oh shit. No, that movie is fantastic. I never saw the second one though.
You don't need to.
It's not canon. It's not canon.
No, it's not canon.
Oh man. CSRS. Warner Brothers Discovery can now search around for merger partners. Oh. Interesting. Why don't you think Warner and NBCU has started the process to merge yet? We don't know if they have or haven't. We don't know what's in those rooms. You know what I mean? They could be discussing stuff. No one had any idea. Honestly, we were all thrown for a loop when Disney came out and said they were going to buy Pixar. I think even the Marvel deal came out of nowhere. Like, we don't know really. CSRS. I mean, a lot of stuff is done behind the scenes, and just because we're not hearing about it doesn't mean it's not happening. I don't know. I think Universal would be very smart to try to make some sort of move and acquire some of the Warner Brothers library. I've said it for a very long time. People get very mad at me for saying this, but I think Universal is kind of struggling in their in-house IP. They've gotten better though. I will give them credit. They've gotten better, but like their in-house stuff, right? Mario is not a Universal property. Super Mario Brothers. That's an outside thing. You know what I'm saying? Harry Potter is not. These are franchises. Their biggest stuff is not their stuff. So I think if you acquire Warner Brothers, now you're cooking with some gas, dude. Now you got the whole DC library. You got the legendary animation studio with the Looney Tunes and the Animaniacs. I hope they do. I think it'd be great for Universal. I think it'd be great for their streaming platform. I think it'd be great for their films. I think it'd be great for their parks. Unbelievably good for their parks. I think Lord of the Rings, if I'm not mistaken, is Warner Brothers. If I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
A huge potential there. Will the regulatory gods approve it? I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to, Universal would have to offload some stuff, probably some TV stuff and all that to get that done. And it has been harder to get some of these bigger mergers through lately. We'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't write it off though, CSRS. Just because we're not hearing about it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not happening behind the scenes. What do you think, George?
I agree. I feel like a lot of these big time companies, they tend to make these kind of willing and dealing, whether or not it takes from pen to paper yet, but just opening up the conversation. I feel like that, as I said many times before, where a lot of people think that Disney and Universal are these top tier rivals and like they just want to go for the gusto and they want to see blood and they just like trust me, these guys, they go to banquets, they go to meetings, they talk amongst themselves.
Yeah, dude.
Healthy competition is good, but I feel like a lot of the time within the fan base community that when you don't necessarily hear or see what's going on, you kind of create your own scenario of what is going on, but technically that's not necessarily
it's headcanon. It's headcanon.
Exactly.
You come up with these things, yeah. Like they work together more than you think they do. Just go on the Universal Studios tram tour. And when the tram people are telling you what was filmed here and what was filmed over there, a lot of it is Disney stuff.
Yeah. The Pirates movies.
Right. And Desperate Housewives, and all that. Like it's all Disney. A lot of it's Disney stuff. So yeah, I don't know. CSRS here. Oh, go ahead.
Really quick. Sorry. Maybe says Karaoke George and Hype Man OG is my favorite duo.
Yes, let's do it. Yes. CSRS here says, what do you think the future of the Hyperion holds? Will they put another production in there at some point, or will it be or will it be demoed for either Avengers Campus or whatever places? HL, whether it's Avatar. Oh, Hollywoodland. Well, okay, yeah, this is interesting, and I see value, and I hate saying that word because it seems so corporate to me, but I see it just seems corporate to me. I don't know why, but it just does. I see value. I see value though.
It's just the thing, OG. Just a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. You know what I'm saying? But I see value in having like a big stage, in a theme park, like where you can have these big productions. I see there's a benefit to that. Absolutely. And I like these shows. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, that theater is really ugly. I mean, unless they can fix it up, like on the outside. I said in the video yesterday again that whole thing with the painted blue sky. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The way you just hyped that up. You just hyped it up and then you just like crashed it down. You're like, the park needs a theater. It's great, but that thing is so ugly.
That thing is so ugly. It is. It's ugly. If we're gonna have a theater, let's build one with like an actual like facade. I don't like the blue sky thing. I think it looks kind of cheap. It's that back
I do
lot.
agree with you with that.
Yeah, it's lazy. You know what I'm saying? So if they can make the theater look really great from the outside with some really ornate kind of features on it and make it look really pretty, then I'm down for it. Keep it. If it's going to stay the way it is, then we can just demo it and put something better in there. I'd rather have something else, in my opinion.
I think it depends on too, like what shows they're actually planning on putting back into that theater. I mean, because when you have shows like Frozen and especially Aladdin was my go-to every time I went to DCA. I absolutely loved that show. It tore me apart that they were ending it. Frozen was great too. Both of them were high-end production values. When it comes to the performances each day, multiple times a day in the Hyperion Theater. I did really like Rogers the Musical. There were some parts in it that were a bit cringy. I did enjoy the music though. The music was phenomenal by Christopher Lennertz. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. To the same soundtrack that he did Wondrous Journeys.
And can I just tell you, I fanboyed out when he ended up following me on Twitter. I was like, that made my week. Like literally I love his work. Yeah. And even the show he worked on for Amazon, The Boys, I mean, that's
absolutely.
Fun. Yeah.
I posted a photo on Twitter. It was, I took a picture of the curtain of where it showed like the Captain America shield for Rogers the Musical, and he actually liked that photo.
Oh, that's dope. That's really cool. He's a great guy. He's really nice.
But aside from the awesome, phenomenal music that he produced for that show, compared to Frozen and Aladdin, it's a bit lackluster as far as the production value goes. So are they going to utilize the Hyperion for like more smaller, intimate shows moving forward, or are they going to do like these big Broadway style productions like they used to?
Yeah, we'll see. Well, his follow-up question here, if the Hyperion went away for an attraction, where else would you put a venue like it at Disneyland Resort? Personally, I wouldn't mind them putting it in downtown Disney. And downtown Disney needs entertainment. Like they need something like that. I don't know where you would put it. I mean, but that would work in a downtown Disney. You guys in Florida have that big building, the Cirque
du Soleil.
Yeah, thank you. I never can pronounce that, but but you guys have that. But here's the caveat to that, though. Here's the problem, which a lot of fans might not like. You put it in downtown Disney, then what happens?
Upcharge.
Right, exactly. You got to pay a little up front, But hey, if you want to see Rogers the Musical,
we have a Hulk.
Then you got to pay up. If it's hey, you got to do what you got to do. No, but in all seriousness, so that's the downside though to having it in downtown Disney. But I wouldn't be completely opposed to that. I mean, I don't know. That theater, they got to figure something out. It takes up a lot of space, and they don't really use. Is there anything playing in that theater now? I don't think there is.
No, they said Rogers the Musical was supposed to come back, but they didn't give a definite date.
Yeah, see, and they're not even really utilizing it. So at this point, it's just taking up space. You can build an attraction there that will get utilized every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Andrew Kellogg. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us, brother. He says, do you think that that Genie Plus is a new form of the old ticket book that was at Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom? What do you think about that, George? That it's basically a form of a ticket book.
I don't know exactly how, like, as far as like the ticket books, like you would get like the E ticket, the D ticket, the C ticket, and you could utilize. I don't know if it's exactly to that. I mean, they kind of do that with the Lightning Lane because the
That's
Lightning
what I was
Lane
gonna
is
say.
utilized for like the more popular attractions, but just the Genie Plus alone, I think everything is pretty much on the same par with one another.
Right. I would agree with you on that. I was just going to say
Although
that.
I will say, I wonder if maybe they could do something like that if they were to do kind of like a digitized form of the ticket book, because that way people with younger kids could maybe then customize their kind of experience. That's the kind of customization that they should have
Right.
in the Genie Plus app, where they then can maybe only book just for the C and D ticket attractions, because obviously if you have young kids, they're not going to go on the e-tickets. But why should you pay an upcharge of that when you know kids aren't really going to utilize that? So they should have like a different price tier for maybe like that you could add on individual kind of C, D, E ticket attractions. That's what I would do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. TS Wade, I hope my questions are not over the top. I'm just concerned for Disney. That's all. Hey, nothing to apologize for, Wade. You know,
Absolutely.
we're all passionate about this company, about these parks and what have you. It's fine to be, concerned. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. Mr. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. Second question. Do you think there's any truth to the notion of Disney becoming too big for its own good? No, I don't think there's any truth to that. Disney has a lot of competition. This past year, Universal was #1 at the box office. So it's not like a monopoly. Like a lot of people say that there's a monopoly with Disney. There's not. There's plenty of competition. Universal has shown that this past year, how well Universal has done, right? Warner Brothers is on track to do very well. I mean, they've been doing well with Wonka, stuff like that. I think Joker 2 will probably do really well. So there's competition out there. When you say, oh, is it too big for its own good? In what way? I mean, is it because they're too big that they can't manage themselves? I mean, you have bigger companies like Apple and Amazon and all those other companies that do just fine. They're bigger than Disney. So I don't think it's anywhere close to that point yet. I just think they need to got to get into a rhythm again and sort of start, figuring things out. But I don't think the recent problems they're having right now have anything to do with the size of the company. That's just in my opinion. Because remember, Disney was having issues even back in the day, like in the early 80s and the late 70s, when they were just Walt Disney Productions, this tiny little studio with a theme park. That was it. And they were struggling. And so I think you can struggle no matter how big you are. And I don't think the size of this company is what's holding it down right now. I think it's the management, and I think it's they've lost their way a little bit. I think they're rebounding. I do believe they are rebounding. I mean, we are seeing positive stuff, but that's more of the issue than the size of the company, in my opinion. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Disney needs to continue to grow in order to kind of capitalize on the investments of like what is going to be utilized a lot, during, each time era. For instance, like they're going with a partnership with Epic Games. Epic Games is a hot deal right now. Fortnite is a hot deal right now. So Disney's jumping on that bandwagon. It's the same thing when they purchased Lucasfilm, the same thing when they purchased Marvel, Pixar, even Fox. I mean, they can utilize all those separate kind of IPs integrated into the Disney fashion, where they could kind of be their own thing, but yet still be managed and utilized by Disney. And I feel like that as Disney continues to move forward, they need to grow in a sense, in order to be successful.
Well said. Well said. And our friend Kiki and Luca, can Disney remove DAS? Okay, the special the disability assistance pass
Service. Yeah.
Service. There you go. The courts did not rule on that yet, but seemed sympathetic to Disney in their last 11th Circuit case, which said Disney was acting reasonably. There is the Genie Plus option, also rider switch and disabled access at the exit. What is reasonable accommodation to disabled people in your opinion? What would the ideal policy look like to you? And he ends it here with why are DAS users so against using Genie Plus. Well, here's the thing. I don't think, okay, like for example, right? Genie Plus is not free though, right? It's a paid service.
Correct.
So for me, I feel like it's a little unfair to force somebody to buy Genie Plus because they're in a wheelchair or something. Like, I don't think that's really fair. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they wouldn't have bought it if they weren't disabled. And now you're forcing them to fork out money because they have a disability. I think that's a little, you know, ethically wrong. You know, I think that if you're going to help people who are disabled, it should be like free. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how I see it personally. I actually like the new system actually that they're rolling out because it's a little more tailor made towards the person's disability, from what I understand. So if you have something like, say, IBS, right? A lot of people have IBS, right? Everyone has IBS. Okay, so if you have IBS, they don't just give you, like, now what they're going to do is they're going to say you have to wait in the regular line, right? From what I understand. Go ahead, George. Take your time.
I'm sorry, really quick. I just have to say, OG, if everybody had IBS, that'd be really shitty.
Oh, shit. Exactly. Oh, man. Exactly. It'd be pretty shitty, bro. It'd be pretty shitty, you know?
Sorry, continue, bro.
Yeah, no, but from what I understand, the changes with this is that you're going to have a healthcare professional kind of evaluate the situation. And based on that, they're going to kind of guide you as to what you should do. So one of the options for, say, for someone with IBS or something, you wait in the line, and then you can leave the line to do your business, and then you can come back into the line. We don't know the logistics of that. But there's options now that they're kind of implementing here, where based on what you have or your issue, you'll be given some other way of doing this. And I think that's a good idea instead of this broad, you know, umbrella for one size fits all. I don't know. I think it's fine what they're doing, honestly, Kiki and Luca. But I don't think that. Okay, here's the thing. I think people who are legitimately in need of the service should get should have the accommodations for free and not have to buy into Genie Plus. I think the people that you're hearing that are complaining a lot might be people be people who were abusing it and now are mad because now they have to use Genie Plus. I think that might be what's happening with a lot of the stuff that you see like on Twitter and things like that.
Right.
But if you're legitimately incapable of going through the line, like, you know, I don't think they should have to pay. Go ahead, George. I do apologize.
No, you're good, bro. Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I think also too why a lot of people who have these legit ailments or disabilities or what have you could be frustrated with the notion, because with all the obstacles that they have to go through just to even go on vacation with people who have these disabilities, that even though this does seem like it's going to be the right choice in kind of weeding out the people who may not necessarily have these disabilities, but it puts a more bigger hindrance on the person that has to go through more hoops than just going up to a cast member at guest relations and say, hey, my child has these disabilities. Can I get on DAS? You know, so it's kind of like a teeter-totter. You know, you're trying to help one cause and trying to help another, but they're kind of balancing each other.
And you have people who just want to hack the system, right? Is that what the kids are calling it now, George? Hack? It's a hack.
They hack the system. Yeah.
It's a hack. Yeah, it's a hack, and that's wrong. When you're utilizing a system that's meant for people with disabilities, and then you're taking advantage of it, I think that's not cool. So I think that Disney has to address that issue, right? But they also have to be accommodating to the people that actually need it. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see. It's a balancing act. It's absolutely a balancing act, but we'll see what happens. But Mr. Brandon Wong here says, and Brandon, thank you for joining us, brother. Thank you for joining us. I remember him in a couple live chats ago, had some amazing questions. Brandon, when Disneyland Forward gets approved, how many hotels will Disney build, and what kind of theme should they be? See, this is interesting, Brandon, right? Because I don't think, okay, look, this is a tough one because there's a lot of like what ifs in this. if
So then
Disneyland,
it's right up Tomorrow's alley then.
yeah, exactly. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. No, yeah. What if? What if? What if? No, but for example, Brandon, right? If part of the Disneyland Forward plan right now, I'm saying this is a complete maybe. What if? Right? Is a third park? Well, the hotel number is going to change then because now you're adding a third park. If it's not going to include a third park, then I think 3 hotels is probably enough. I don't think you need 4. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think you need 4. But what
I agree with you. I think 4 would be substantial if you had a third gate.
Yeah. Oh, you have to do. Yeah. If you had a third gate, then you need another hotel, a new one.
Although I will say the Pixar Place Hotel, I would remove altogether and add another hotel at a different location because that is like a big chunk of land that could be utilized for the expansion pad.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. It's a weak hotel, right? So you bulldoze that, you get more theme park space, and then you build its replacement somewhere else on property, somewhere I don't know where, and a more impressive hotel. And that was actually, you read my mind, George, because I'm actually going to say that. I think that Pixar can go and be replaced. I would like Disneyland Hotel to get replaced, but it's not going to happen because you have the DVC tower that just went up. But I wouldn't be opposed, though, to them bulldozing the old towers and building new towers, maybe in even a new configuration that look more like the DVC tower. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. So there's options here, but it just kind of depends, Brandon, because also what you've got to figure too is they might want to incorporate a new hotel to incorporate into the new park or a new land. For example, if let's say they build a third park that's like a giant Fantasy Springs. Let's just hypothetical, right? A giant Fantasy Springs in the Toy Story lot. They might want to build a hotel that's very fantasy based, right? But if they do something else, like maybe they build a Marvel park, then it might be more Marvel. So the theme also depends on what they're planning on doing. So it's a hard question to really answer until we kind of get a little more detail as to what they're planning for Disneyland Forward. Once we get some details as to the first, like maybe 10 years of what they want to do, we can probably better answer like what theme a new hotel should be and what have you.
And we also have to take into consideration too that a lot of people will say, okay, well, they just rethemed the Pixar Place Hotel. Why demolish it if you just remodeled it? You have to think this is going to be a 30+ year, well, up to 30 years. But knowing Disney, they'll come up with some other strategy move that after the 30 years is up, they'll figure out a way. Disney always comes through. But let's just say, for the sake of it, a 30-year investment, a 30-year project, so obviously this hotel is not going to stay for 30 years.
There's no way. There's no way. This is a play, in my opinion, and I could be wrong. I have no problem being wrong. Oh, almost dropped my highlighter. I have no problem being wrong, but in my opinion, I think the Pixar Place Hotel is a placemaker. They knew they had to change it to Pixar because of Pixar Pier, and it's a way to insert IP and probably get more hotel rooms booked because the normies are going to love the Toy Story stuff and the Pixar stuff, but there's no way this thing is going to be around in 30 years, especially with that land surrounding it being theme park, there's no way. Mr. Seymour Duck is in the house with an amazing profile pic. I love your new profile. Mr. Duck always comes through with the profile pics. That is amazing.
Does.
Always comes through. Here, Mr. Duck, he's a huge Nintendo guy, so. Oh, wait. No, wrong one. Sorry. There we go, Mr. Duck. It's good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Let me see here. Going through the chat. Okay, Coaster Crash. It's good to see you, Coaster Crash. He's asking, or they are asking, when do you guys expect Tiana's Bayou Adventure to open at Magic Kingdom? What do you think, George? May, June?
I'm thinking definitely the beginning of. I know they mentioned summer, but I definitely feel like it's going to be towards the beginning of summer. I would bet either late May or early June. I think they're kind of putting the finishing touches on it. But I think they're going to want it to be ready for when kids get out of school, families take their their family vacations, and plus it's a water ride. So the summertime down in Florida it gets hot. You know, you have to add that water ride, you know, back into Magic Kingdom. So I would definitely say, I would say like late May, early June.
I would agree with you. They're already testing it, like with the music and the effects. Drew the Disney Dude, who's amazing content creator. If you guys are not following Drew the Disney Dude on X or his YouTube channel, you definitely have to. He's been like on top of all this Tiana stuff. But he had a great video the other day. They were playing the music out there with the lighting package, or testing the lighting package and stuff. It looks fantastic. But they're really far along at the Magic Kingdom with this attraction. So I would agree with you, George. Probably like late May, early June, maybe mid-June, maybe-ish. I don't know, around that time period. But it's looking like it's coming online pretty soon. So we'll see. We got the one and only Slimer in the house. Swifty5 doing it live. Absolutely, brother. We gotta get Slimer back in the house, man. We gotta get him back on the channel to talk shop with us. We miss Slimer. Really good guy. We miss him. Walt Disney Nate. Nate here says, "Sup, OG. It's a bit early to call, but what do you think Disneyland will do for the 70th anniversary next year? I'm hoping for another electrical parade comeback." Ooh, look at you with the spicy. That's a controversial take, Nate. A lot of Diz Twitter, they hate that parade, and I don't know why. I love the electrical parade. My late grandmother absolutely loved it, and so it will always have a special place in my heart. And the music and everything gives me goosebumps. Oh God, I'm getting goosebumps right now even thinking about it. It's a great parade. I would love that, but I think for the 70th, I don't know.
Do you think they could even utilize something at D23? Like, do you think they could showcase the Disneyland 70th, even though it's not going to be for that year? But if they can ramp up people to maybe like look forward to it, like some sort of kind of like special event, or
it could. Yeah, they could. I mean, and I don't know how serious they're going to take the 70th, because I think the 75th is probably the bigger thing.
That's true.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, we're only a year out and we've heard nothing.
I absolutely love what Disney did with Disneyland 60th, the Diamond Celebration. I absolutely loved the Diamond Celebration.
Yeah. Oh, so good. It was so good. We'll see. Yeah, it's interesting though. 70th is only a year away and we have heard nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. But a lot of stuff that's in the pipeline. You know, we're going to have nothing's going to open next year because it takes a while to build this stuff. But we might get some announcements that will sort of get kicked off maybe, you know, around that time, you know, like some big announcements. So we'll see. Absolutely. Great question though. Starship 824 Starship. Thank you so much for joining us. We love seeing you in the chat. Have you guys heard the rumor that there will be a Moana boat ride added to the expansion plot in Adventureland and Magic Kingdom? George, what say you, man? You're the Florida guy.
Yeah. So, actually it was originally supposed to be a type of roller coaster. They were going to build like a volcano type indoor outdoor roller coaster that was supposed to be themed to Moana on that expansion plot behind the Jungle Cruise, and where the attraction was supposed to sit, it would look out into out to the Polynesian Village Hotel, so it kind of would fit in to that storyline. But they ended up canceling. Well, they didn't really cancel it because they never really officially made that announcement per se, but they kind of shelved, I'll say, that attraction, and they decided to go for Tron instead. But they have been circulating a lot of like with the patents with these boat rides. And I remember there was one patent where it actually showcased an image of Moana and Maui standing on the Wayfinder boat. So I thought that was kind of funny that they used that. And then of course there was the concept art that Imagineer Chris Beatty used for Animal Kingdom that was supposed to go in for Dino Land, and that was a Moana attraction. So I think at some point, whether it's part of Adventureland or even maybe Beyond Big Thunder, I think Moana is going to come to, I think, Magic Kingdom in a big way. And I don't just mean just like a walkthrough that they have at Epcot. No,
the franchise deserves more than just a walkthrough, I think. You know, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. The rumored ride system, Starship, for our Avatar attraction coming to Disneyland Resort is the Shanghai Pirates boat system, which is pretty dope. I don't know if you've seen that. Check it out on YouTube if you haven't. It's a really cool boat ride. It's not the standard kind of slow moving boat ride. It does a lot of crazy stuff. It's really, really cool. But that ride system with the Moana theme,
Oh, that would fit perfectly.
oh my God, dude. It would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. So they have options. Moana is the absolute queen of Disney Plus. Like she crushes it. She's up there with like Bluey and all that, right? She's doing amazing over there. So they definitely want to incorporate more and more Moana. Absolutely. So next question we got is Lovelo. Lovelo, good to see you. Have any of you heard the news about the movies at Cinemacon, like Gladiator 2, the Scary Movie reboot, Michael, etc.? Honestly, Lovelo, I didn't pay too much attention to Cinemacon.
I've heard about the Scary Movie reboot. Which,
what do you think about that?
Again, I have no interest in it. I love the Scary Movies, don't get me wrong. The Wayans brothers, they crushed it. I remember going to see the first one in theaters, and oh my gosh, that movie is so fucked up, but it's so good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I gotta look into that. I know Disney had a big panel there and everything too, and we got some Deadpool stuff and all that. But like, yeah, I honestly wasn't. I've been actually really busy the past like couple weeks, and I didn't get a chance to check it out. But I'll look into that stuff though, Lovelo. Absolutely. Nerves and Angel says here, did y'all watch Fallout yet? Really fun adaptation of the game. I have not. Have you seen that, George?
I have not either.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We'll check it out, though. We'll check it out for sure, for show. Mr. C. Moore Duck. Disney Plus got more grown up with Hulu. It absolutely did. It absolutely did.
Went through puberty.
Could we see a 20th century animation section with the likes of The Simpsons, Family Guy, and Futurama in the parks next? George, could we see a Peter Griffin dark ride? What do you think, brother?
After experience, here's the thing. I absolutely love The Simpsons. I was a huge fan growing up as a kid. I watched them religiously. I bought all the action figures, the merch. I don't know if any of you collected those growing up, but I used to have the interactive Springfield play sets that came with the figures. You place the figures down and press the button and they would say lines from the show and everything. I collected all of those. But after experiencing The Simpsons in Universal, these kind of IPs, I'm sorry, they do not fit well in any kind of theme park. And I think, honestly, it would be kind of an eyesore, really, if Disney were to put them in the parks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like Simpsons is a great franchise, right? Like I like The Simpsons. I love Family Guy, right? I don't really watch Futurama, to be honest, but I heard it's a really good show. These shows are great for TV, but do they translate well in the theme park space? Do they translate well in a physical environment? Not so much. Like, look, Universal, they built Springfield, and it's pretty ugly, and it's not Universal's fault. It's just that when you take a very flat sort of art style, it's some things don't translate well, right? I think Family Guy is very similar to that. Now maybe they can do something where they don't do a full land. Now, would you be okay, George, with it being like a black box attraction, where it's like maybe for a limited time? The black box attraction, for those of you that are unaware, is more of a attraction that will change. So maybe for 1 year, it's a Family Guy ride. It's basically projection based, so to speak. And then maybe the next year it can be Deadpool, and next year it can be Little Mermaid. Would you be okay with something like that?
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that if it was a black box kind of attraction. However, I feel like that the black box in general should be somewhere in like Downtown Disney and Disney Springs. I would kind of let that be like the newer generation of Disney Quest, even if it's like an extra upcharge where you could have like a full immersive experience to kind of go full like VR, AR kind of thing. I would definitely be into something like that, because I feel like it wouldn't be too much of a hindrance within the park itself, but it's still part of the Disney bubble.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it really does depend, Seymour, too, at like what kind of edition that we're talking about for the parks. There's things you can do, I think, will be fine. 3D movies, things like that might be kind of cool for the parks. Maybe something like like in Hollywood studios or DCA, that's a little bit more adult, a little bit more edgier.
I just have to say really quick. I'm just gonna. I had the Meet the Robinsons on. I had a movie request from Kaylee. I just have to put on The Good Dinosaur. So I'll be right back with you.
Go ahead. Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's go to our next question. And Seymour, that was a great question. Thank you, brother. Brandon Bushnell, do you guys think Disneyland should have waited for the Haunted Mansion queue refurb until after Tiana's is open? Does not make sense to have two e-tickets down on the same side of the park. Well, I think no matter what you did, Brandon, it was going to cause a problem, right? So, like, for example, let's just say they waited until Tiana's is open, and then they took Haunted Mansion down. Well, now you have a construction zone right in front of the new ride that just opened. That's a huge inconvenience too. That's a problem too when you're trying to manage the crowd flow, and now you have walls everywhere. So I think either way you do it, it would have led to issues. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with, unfortunately. And I think they want to get everything cleaned up and that whole area ready to go. So that's kind of how I see it. But we'll see, I'm excited for Tiana's though. On a side note, I know a lot of people have been kind of like, well, it's the culture war thing too. So there's people that have decided they're going to hate it like from day one. So I tend to ignore that stuff, but like a lot of like fans who did have an open mind were concerned about Tiana's, and I gotta say, at least for me personally, from what I've seen with the animatronics and all that stuff they've been showing us has been really top notch. It looks really good. I'm very, very optimistic that this attraction is going to be really top tier. Now, does that mean I love everything about it? No. Like I said before, I think the mountain could use a little less foliage, pull back. Yeah, hey, George, I'm a beer and trees guy, you know what I'm saying? But like, maybe not that many trees, maybe tone it down just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But like, I think that, I think it's going to be a fantastic
And
ride.
just like me, like I'm all about that manscaping.
You know what I'm saying? We got to get Manscaped to sponsor us, bro.
You have to.
Come on, you're Mr. Balls to the wall. You grow a beard like in 5 minutes.
Like it'd be perfect.
I'm telling you, dude. Manscaped, call me or email me, whatever.
Something. Come on.
Contrary to popular belief, I got no special access from Disney. Can we at least get the Manscaped special access, please?
Something. Yeah, come on.
What do you think, George? You think Brandon, in terms of Brandon Bushnell's question, should they have waited for the Haunted Mansion refurb for Tiana to open? I kind of made the point. I know you're doing the movie, but I kind of made the point that either way it was going to be an inconvenience.
Yeah. I think honestly, but the reason why I think it does work in their advantage to put both of them down is because you're already going to have a big cluster of people heading over to Tiana's. Right. So as you had mentioned, no matter what, they are going over to that area. So it's like, while no one is going into that area, kind of kill two birds with one stone. Get Tiana's up, get the Haunted Mansion queue going, and then you could just like open that section up full blast. Yep, exactly. Well said. Undead Nerd. He's got the Terminator. The Terminator. Why do you need cars in Disney World? Yeah, I know. That's kind of where we were at the other day in our video. Both Disney and Universal need to focus more on exclusives so people could go to the East Coast. If not, what's the point of them existing? I understand that. Here's my thing. I don't necessarily mind the cloning too much, Undead, and this is my personal opinion, because I think a lot of people don't have the means to sort of do that, to go to all these different resorts on both coasts or even around the world and what have you. So I think it's nice to sort of bring this stuff to other people's backyard. But my issue with cars, though, it doesn't fit Magic Kingdom. It's too modern for me, for a castle park. I think it would be much better served in like a Hollywood Studios, to be honest with you. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with the cars thing. We talked about it. We actually reacted to the Mickey Views video that he did about that rumor. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Look, I don't mind them cloning our Cars Land. If you want to clone it, fine, but put it in the right park is kind of where I'm at. But what do you think, George? Yeah, I'm sorry. Cars Land, Cars Attraction, I'm sorry, does not belong in Magic Kingdom. As far as this is where OG and I kind of differ a little bit when it comes to the cloning. I can understand to an extent, because if there are people that don't have the leisure like me that can travel back and forth to each coast, to kind of give them a feel of like what the attraction is like. However, I am one that it's like, if you want to have a full Disneyland experience, that incorporates Cars Land, part of that. So it's like, it's specialty to Disneyland, as opposed to with Walt Disney World that may have, even to Pandora, we're going to get 2 Pandoras, but we're getting 2 different retrospects of Pandora.
Yeah, 2 versions of it. Yeah,
like that I absolutely love. So that's where I'm one that I would prefer originals. But then I'm biased to that sense because I want to see all the international shit come over to the domestic parks. So it's like,
it's tough, and that's why I don't really have I don't really draw for like a hard line in the sand with that stuff, because it's like there's some stuff that I think is cool when you clone it. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some stuff that it doesn't work. So it's like,
absolutely,
it's a tough call. It is a tough call.
And really quick before you move on, Googamp, thank you. Yes, Meet the Robinses was a great choice. So sorry I didn't get your request. I got one from Kaylee Pryor. However, if we are still on the live show after this, I will put on Hercules. If not, I will definitely put on Hercules as the first one for the next live.
Absolutely. Dreamy X. With so much happening with the future of Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, I see Hollywood Studios getting investment next. Once everything is set with Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, and then there's part 2. What do you guys think Disney will possibly do to update this park? Seeing that it's the smallest park at the resort, it definitely could use an expansion. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I've been saying this for quite some time. Disney's Hollywood Studios, as much definitely, like Animal Kingdom needs a lot of love. I mean, it's the biggest park, but it has the least to do. And even with the Tropical Americas, they're basically just replacing an old retired land. They're not necessarily expanding. However, with Disney Hollywood Studios, it definitely is the smallest out of the 4 parks. This is where I get very hefty when it comes to the Galactic Star Cruiser, because I was never a fan of this thing, even during the time of its conception. And I'm thinking, why would they waste so much land on something like this when they could just expand out Hollywood Studios?
Right.
So for me, the plot of land that is being utilized for the Galactic Star Cruiser, I say bulldoze that piece of shit, level it out, expand out Disney's Hollywood Studios. And honestly, I'm going to go back to the animation courtyard. That animation courtyard, the expansion pad behind it that runs into Rock and Roller Coaster, those are your 2 heavy hitters, I would think, that could definitely expand out for Hollywood Studios, because the placement of where Hollywood Studios is, it's kind of landlocked in the sense where you can't really run it through anything. Or also, too, I don't think Disney's going to do this, but if they really wanted to, cut some of that parking lot off, because I think Hollywood Studios has like one of the biggest parking lots ever. Wow. That I think if they were to cut a little bit of the parking lot, the expansion pad behind Launch Bay, and the space that took up the Galactic Star Cruiser, I think you would have a nice chunk of expansion for Hollywood Studios.
Well said. Nerves and Gel says here, do you think that if they announce Villains Land in Disney World, that they'll be planning a clone for Disneyland Forward? That's possible. That's possible. I wouldn't mind them doing that. Obviously, if we get Villains Land, it has to go in Disneyland. You cannot put that in DCA. I'm sorry.
And if that's the case, could that be in the Stitch cast member parking lot?
That's possible. Yeah, maybe that's what's going to go over there as a Disneyland expansion. Absolutely. That would make more sense too, because, okay, so we watched Hey Bricky. We love Hey Bricky. He's awesome.
Hey Bricky.
Hey Bricky. But yeah, no, he's awesome. But he made a video where he put the Hong Kong Arendelle in the Stitch lot, and it lined up perfectly. You guys, you got to watch that video. The walkways even lined up. Like, he was making the case that this land was basically built or designed for that spot. And I think he might be onto something with that. But here's my thing. Frozen feels like a fantasy land, like a Fantasyland proper, right? Like a kind of franchise. So it feels weird to have Fantasyland and then across the other end of the park have Frozen. It feels like disjointed to me. Villains though doesn't bother me because villains is its own little thing, kind of, right? It wouldn't really, it doesn't necessarily like it fits in Fantasyland, but it also feels okay to be its own thing across the park. So I'd be much more supportive of that spot becoming Villains Land. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan? Would you want that Stitch lot to become Villains Land, or would you prefer it to be Frozen? I think Frozen's weird.
I think like I do see Bricky's point. It literally it fits like a glove completely. But I also see your point where you would then have Fantasyland, and then you would have New Orleans Square, Critter Country, Frozen. It's like
Frozen belongs in Fantasyland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I can kind of see where like the villains, because that way the villains kind of do their own thing anyway. They feel disparaged from the rest of the park, and you can kind of get away with a little bit of edgier stuff if Disney wanted to. So I would utilize that for a villain if they were to do villains. I do believe strongly that villains somewhere, somehow, some way is going into Walt Disney World. Without a shadow of a doubt, no pun intended. Villains is going to be incorporated, which I'm very excited about. I don't know for sure, if I don't use that special access to find out these things, but
I'm telling you,
but I strongly believe that villains is going to be put into Walt Disney World. I'm hoping Magic Kingdom over Hollywood Studios, to be honest, but we'll see.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah. George mentioned the special access. I'll let him know.
He canceled again on me for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. You can't talk about special access, man. You know what I'm saying? Starship.
I already missed Malibu. What do I miss? Beverly Hills now.
Yeah, exactly. Starship 824. Does everyone remember when Iger was only supposed to be here till the end of the year? Yeah, I do remember that. Here's the thing, Starship. Here's the thing. Contrary to what some people accuse me of loving Bob Iger, I don't love Bob Iger. I'm actually ready to move on from Bob Iger, to be honest with you. Hey, actually, you know what, George? Do we even need a CEO right now? Can we just be single for a while?
Yeah, why not? I mean, come on. We have to put the ring on it right away.
Come on, let's not have let's be single for a while, right?
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, I want to move on from Iger, absolutely. But here's the thing too: you don't want to rush in and just get anybody to do it. Like, if they need more time, they need more time, and that's how I feel about it. Like, you don't want to have a situation where we're just rushing into it just to get Iger out of there, and then you have the same problem that you had in 2020 with Bob Chapek. So I understand there's people that really want Iger gone. He's woke. He's this. He's that. They don't like it. Whatever. I understand that. That's fine. You have no. There's no issue with having that opinion, right? At the same time, though, this is a big decision that we're making here, and we can't just kind of rush through the process, Now, here's the thing: there's limits to it, though. Yes, he was extended, but if this starts to go and become a pattern again, where he's extended again, then OG's gonna be like, wait a minute, it doesn't take this long, So there's nuance, is what I'm trying to say, Starship. We have to find the right person. We don't want to rush it. At the same time, if it looks like they're dragging their feet a little too much, then we got to call it out. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I feel like, the fact, he left abruptly, came back, whatever. We're beyond that. I know a lot of people are kind of holding on to that. You just gotta have to think of Frozen and let it go. But I do feel like that we have to move on from Iger after this is all kind of somewhat, I'm going to say somewhat fixed. Nothing is 100% fixed at the time. Nothing is a well-oiled machine that'll just keep going. You're going to have bumps along the road, but at least up to a point where it can maneuver again. But yeah, I'm ready to kind of move on from Iger after that point, and just as Frozen 2 says, go into the unknown. It's
that was good. That was good, George. That was really good. Undead Nerd, and then I'm going to get to Lucas's super chat. So Undead Nerd says, thoughts on OJ Simpson. This is we took a turn for this is some dark shit here. Yeah. My thoughts on OJ Simpson. I was a kid when that happened initially. but I remember it was like the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Personally, and this is like personally, in my opinion, everyone's got different opinions. In my opinion, he did it. Okay. I think he did it.
Yeah.
Now, that's, disgusting, obviously. Thoughts on him passing away though? Like, I don't find happiness or joy out of anyone passing away. So he was a shitty human being, a shit human being. He was, but I'm not going to celebrate his death either. Like then, like, what I'm saying? Like, that's gross too. Like, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. Yes. I think he was guilty of what they accused him of. I think it's scummy that he got away with it, but he's a human being who passed away. So I'm not going to celebrate someone's death, no matter how crappy they are. So that's just kind of where I'm at. What do you think, George? OJ Simpson.
Yeah. I'm the same way. My personal thoughts on it are he was guilty, like all the way. There's no way around saying it. I mean, if he wasn't, he wasn't. But I mean, I truly believe he did do it. I'm the same way. I'm not gonna celebrate. I'm not gonna mourn. It was just like, oh, okay, he passed. It's like I went back to my pasta. So
your pasta, like a true Italian would.
True
right,
Italian.
Yeah. Went right back to your pasta.
Right back to my pasta. But but that's not for me to say. That's not for me to judge one way or the other. That's just my own personal beliefs. And my personal beliefs is that he has to now deal with a much higher power that's that will kind of have to deal with him. So.
Yeah, exactly. Lucas Kim, thank you so much, Lucas, for the $20 super chat. Really, really generous of you. Thank you so much, brother. We do appreciate you. We actually did a video with Lucas. He was on the channel. What was it, like a week ago now? I think it was
about a week. Yeah.
Really good time. Lucas, we got to have you on again, brother. That was a great conversation. But Lucas here says, this has been argued a lot between me and a few other Walt Disney World fans. But do you think a lot of Tomorrowland attractions need to be remade for new attractions and maybe attach Zootopia Land in the back or right side of Tomorrowland?
Okay, so Lucas,
ahead,
are you saying like remove Tomorrowland and put in Zootopia? Or when you say attached, you mean attach Zootopia to Tomorrowland?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean Zootopia Land. Okay, well, let's just take the Zootopia Land thing. We just did a video.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Right, with 6 Miles, which will be released tomorrow. Shameless plug, I know. But we did a whole video on Shanghai Disneyland, like a deep dive into the whole park and Zootopia, right? It's beautiful.
That land looked phenomenal.
Dude, I was shocked. I mean, because a lot of that footage that he was showing us, I never saw it up like to that detail. He was there. He was on the ground. He made all kinds of videos. Really great stuff.
Really quick, Lucas Kim just confirmed, no, connect it to a new land.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, from what we've seen from 6 Miles footage, there is this very cityscapey kind of vibe with Zootopia, and at night it really gives that off. It gives off like almost like a New York Times Square kind of vibe, almost. Yeah. I could see that being not part of Tomorrowland, but like a land connected to Tomorrowland, like next door, and working just fine because there is that sort of like the cityscape kind of like technological element to Zootopia that might be a cool kind of transition. I don't know. It could work. I'm open to it.
And honestly, 6 Miles Tall gave a great perspective on. A lot of people are saying, Zootopia wouldn't fit in with Animal Kingdom. Even to the creator, Imagineer Joe Rohde, didn't want Zootopia. But when our video drops, go and watch it because 6 Miles Tall says it best. I can't put it into words of how he put it, but he put it so eloquently of how Zootopia in its own right kind of does fit in Animal Kingdom. So I don't want to debacle his statement. So when our
video drops,
please go check it out and definitely just watch it in its entirety because, as I said, his video footage is phenomenal. And when you see it at night, I will say of seeing Zootopia Land at night, that I could definitely see fitting into DCA.
Yeah,
because that does give like that LA nighttime vibes, go into the clubs, go into the, but I definitely could, I could definitely see Zootopia fitting into DC, whether or not that they keep the California theme or not.
Right.
I think it's a safe bet that it would fit.
Now here, Lucas here says also that do you think a lot of Tomorrowland attractions need to be remade to new attractions? I'm not as familiar with Walt Disney World, but I think both of our Tomorrowlands here in Anaheim and the one in Florida have issues. I think yours though in Florida is slightly better.
The aesthetics are slightly better.
Well, and you have the People Mover.
The People Mover, Carousel Progress. Yeah.
You know,
I would honestly.
what would you
I
do?
know Slimer. If you're still in the chat, he's going to wring my neck for saying this. But honestly, I personally
it's a good
don't.
thing you live in Pennsylvania, George.
I personally don't think we should really touch Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland, to be honest with you. I mean,
Really?
aside from the Speedway, I do think like some things need to be added in. Like they need to do something with the Stitch's Great Escape building.
Yeah,
like that thing's been stagnant for years.
Can we just get Alien Encounter back? Because now you own the IP.
Just do Alien. Yeah, absolutely. But I do enjoy the Monsters Inc. laugh floor. Buzz Lightyear, that's a filler ride. I think they just kind of have that in there just to, for whatever purpose. But
just for shits and giggles, right?
Just for shits and giggles. They just had to put something into the building. But the People Mover, the Carousel Progress, I feel like that if you kind of hinder with Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland, it's putting them at risk. And I would rather kind of deal with a mid-par Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom to keep the People Mover and the Carousel Progress.
Yeah, well, that's true. Once you start digging into Tomorrowland, are those things going to stay? That's a problem. I love the People Mover, and as a Californian, I really appreciate it more than I ever have.
Yeah,
it was amazing going on that. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, you needed to, if nothing else, if we did nothing else at Magic Kingdom, you had to do the People Mover and Carousel Progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Lucas, thank you so much, brother. Very, very generous. We appreciate you. We really do. And we'll get you back on the channel soon. Starship 824. Do you think it would have been better for Disney to have let Comcast buy out Fox and Disney only buy things like Avatar and Marvel? The thing is, though, Starship is I don't think that they would have gone with that. I think they were looking to sell the whole thing, so they had to buy the whole thing. They had to buy the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying? Did that sound really white of me, by the way? Kit and caboodle.
It's funny. I actually use that term, so maybe it is a white thing.
I don't know. That was funny. I'm like, I just say kit and caboodle. No, but I think that. Look, I think that buying Fox was a smart move. I think they probably they spent a lot of money on it. Here's the thing. Oh man, this is tough, man.
But it definitely boosted up the numbers, even with adding Hulu to it. Because
that's what I'm saying. Because Seymour and our friend Hedge on Twitter too have been saying that because my mindset was kind of like they overpaid for Fox. I've been saying that for a long time. I'm kind of coming around though on that maybe they didn't, because when you look at some of these properties like Simpsons and these Fox properties, they add a lot of value to the streaming service that you wouldn't have if you didn't have those in there.
Yeah,
like a Hulu, like all that stuff, a lot of the Fox stuff was what makes Hulu as valuable as it is, though.
Well, Lucas Kim in the chat is saying Fox is a big package deal. Hulu is the problem.
Well, that's interesting.
So I'm interesting. Lucas Kim, can you actually elaborate on that a little more? What separates the Fox is the big package deal. They need to stop separating the two apps. That I do agree with. I still don't understand why they have the Hulu as an individual app. They should just incorporate it just within the Disney Plus.
They do have that bundle now, though, that you do. If you have both services, you can get that. But what you guys are saying is just have it
just have the Hulu. Yeah, just remove the whole Hulu app just individually.
So when you subscribe to Disney Plus, you have Hulu automatically. It's a tile, basically.
Correct.
Yeah. But no, I think that also you create a lot of issues if you let Comcast have a lot of these properties. Look at the drama, the drama Disney's going through with the Marvel rights in the theme park space, because Universal owns those rights. So you want to have Comcast now owning Deadpool and X-Men and all that. So now we can have that same drama in the fucking studio space. No, I'm good on that. I'm completely good on that. I'm glad they bought it, but they got to figure out the money end of it. They gotta, yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, Seymour actually agrees with Lucas's thoughts on it. And then Starship 824 says, I think Hulu is only separate because Comcast still owns 30%. They think. I thought Disney bought the whole thing.
Yeah, they bought it out recently.
Seymour just confirmed
for $9 billion, but with a little asterisk because they might owe more. We don't know. That report hasn't come back yet, but I don't think they're going to owe much more. It's going to be in and around the $9 billion, I think. Matthew Brown, when does Disney City Council vote on Disneyland Forward? This Tuesday.
2 more days.
This Tuesday. So we are coming up on the 2-hour mark. We're going to start winding things down, but we absolutely love Kaylee. So I have to answer Kaylee's question here. Actually, we have 2 questions from Kaylee. So she said, do you ever name your capybara? So what she's talking about, Kaylee sent me this really, really cute capybara. And he has a little orange on his head. Really adorable stuff. Now, the capybaras are adorable. I love capybaras for a couple reasons. Number 1, because they're really cute. But number 2, because my favorite group, Blackpink, or one of my favorite groups, Blackpink, Jenny, is obsessed with these capybaras, right? So Kaylee sent me this and thought it was really cute because the little orange and everything, and I absolutely love it. I did name my capybara, by the way. His name is Orangey. So his name is Orangey, really cute little guy. But yeah, there he is. Well, we should give him a show on the channel, George. You know what I'm saying?
We should,
capybara show. You know,
you might have to sort of like how you kind of do with Chewy, how you did like a little background. You might have to do something with the capybara.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Here, for those of you that don't know what we did with Chewy, I'll show you. I'll give you a little piece of what we did with Chewy. There it is. Thank you so much, Kaylee. We appreciate you. Absolutely. And we got Ron Burner in the house. Ron Burner, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Thank you so much. Ron Burner here says Pandora location and ride system commitment, Disneyland Forward, anything. Yeah, and we actually had Ron on the show. When did we have Ron? It was about a week ago too, huh?
A week and a half, probably. Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Ron. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And we have Mr. Bad Thought Studio. Tones, Tony. We got to get that drop, dude, for Tones. The Tony drop.
Tony.
Absolutely.
Just me, you, ooh, baby.
There it is. Bad Thoughts. If you had to live in a Disney movie and be a character, who would it be and what movie? George?
Ooh.
I'll tell you mine.
No, go for it.
Aladdin, because he's got Jasmine, dude. Easy peasy, man. That's like, he's got, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to kind of go that route. So for me, as much as Jasmine actually is my all-time favorite Disney princess, but I'm going to lean a little more towards Hercules because of Meg. Because for me, I kind of like that little bit of that rebel bad girl type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. You want Meg, huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Not to be confused, we're talking Fox, not Meg from Family Guy, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Poor Meg. She always gets the short end of the stick on Family Guy.
She absolutely does.
Although, if we're talking about the voice of Meg from Family Guy, Mila Kunis. Now that's a whole nother different story there.
Yeah, exactly. If we want to talk live action Meg, Mila Kunis, okay, then we're talking. Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we are going to be wrapping up. So I'm going to be kind of going through the chat. And again, Tones, thank you, brother. We do appreciate you, man. We got to get Tones back on here, dude.
Absolutely.
We got Kaylee. We do another Kaylee question. Can you guys try to find Oswald for me when you go in a few weeks? I've been waiting since like 2011 to find and meet him. We will do that.
We will definitely do that. I will do my round 2 because I tried to do this for Kaylee the last time, and he was not out. I kept on asking cast members, and they're like, he's coming out. He likes to come out on his own good time and what have you. And I'm hanging around Buena Vista Street because that's usually, where he's by the red car trolley, like more so towards the front of the park,
right by
the gas station. That's where I met him.
You met him
But
by the
yeah.
gas station. That sounds kind of shady, bro. Seedy. What are you guys doing over there by the gas station?
And I had the photo opportunity and everything.
Oh man. No, Kaylee, if we find, you know what we should do, George? If we find Oswald, we should FaceTime Kaylee.
Yeah. Yeah, we should. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, hopefully if it's on a, during a time where you're available, I will definitely, we'll definitely FaceTime you. Or if not, if you're not available, we'll actually record as we're saying that, our friend Kaylee really wants to meet you and she's a huge fan and kind of get his reaction on video.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Thank you so much for the question and the comment. Paul Adler, I'd love to hear you guys discuss Horizons someday. What an amazing attraction. You know what? That's a good idea. We should do that. George.
Paul, that is actually very interesting because I've actually had an idea, which I didn't actually bring to OG yet. But it actually involves these kind of things, and actually Horizons would be on because I loved Horizons, and Kaylee now is going to probably give me a kick in the ass for saying this, but like it was replaced by Mission Space, and I am not a fan of Mission Space.
Oh, Kaylee likes Mission Space?
Yes, because she apparently at some point we're going to do a marathon of Mission Space. God help me, but
oh, George, really? I couldn't do that. I couldn't even do it once, man.
Yeah, anyone who is claustrophobic, anyone who does not like tight spaces, you will not like Mission Space. Yeah, man, I'm not a fan. I am not a fan. Although I will say that they do have barf bags in there in case you need them. Right. Oh, dude, no. It's for me. It's not even the motion sickness. For me, it's just being in that. It's just being in that little tight. Oh, dude. You thought Forbidden Journey was bad. Like that Forbidden Journey has nothing on Mission Space. Oh man, that's terrible. Maybe here. Thank you so much. Maybe we appreciate you. And you know what? Maybe here. This is for you. Here we go. Give me 1 second. There we go. Hold on 1 second. We got La Seraphim, we got Youngjin in the background, and we got to do our eagle. Give me 1 second. I do apologize. I got so many drops now. Oh my God, where's my eagle? There it is. There she is. There she is, and she gets a double eagle. Should we do a triple eagle, George? Might as well go for it. I'm sorry. I just quadruple. What the hell? There we go. All right, let me go back to. Oh my God! When you said "Where's my eagle," I just thought of something I could have said, and I thought, no, I can't. I'll be nice. Are we keeping it PG? We'll keep it PG. Yeah. Let's see here. I got, let me see. Girly Nerd. We love Girly Nerd. I rode Buzz Lightyear for the first time yesterday, and George was right. George, you were right. I was right. It was so bad. Yes. So inferior to Midway Mania. What are your high score? I'm not sharing mine. Yeah, it is bad. Well, it's okay. It's just that it's kind of like, I don't know. It's the web slinger's problem, right? I don't know where I'm shooting. I can't see my beam or my laser or whatever. My laser, I can't see my laser. Can't see the laser, can't see the beam, I know George. Luckily in real life we don't have that problem. yeah, but no, I'm bad at that one too, girly. Don't even worry about it. Midway Mania is much easier to kind of navigate, Absolutely. Yeah. I think if there was one attraction that could be removed, well, two. Buzz Lightyear and the Speedway, honestly, I would remove from Tomorrowland. Yeah, absolutely. Late Night with Cap is in the house. Late Night with Cap, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining. We really, really do. We actually had him on the channel just a couple of weeks ago. Really cool guy. And check out his YouTube channel. Does a lot of great work over there. Thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it. And Lucas Kim with a $5 super chat. Lucas, thank you so much, brother. Mission Space Orange mission challenge after Space 220 meal. Let's go, George. Is that a challenge, Lucas? Is that a challenge? Oh, dude, yeah, it is. That's a challenge. All right. So when's the next time when's the next time you're going to Florida, George? So we can plan this out, dude. Next time it'll be next. It'll be not this summer. It'll be the next summer. When we all go. Including Mr. Michael Ebba. I'm for sure he might enjoy that. Right? Yeah. That's great. Absolutely great.
Absolutely. All right. Oh, we got one more, then we're going to take off. We got one more. We got the one and only Jay Shear. We got Jay Shear in the house, host of the Story Geek Show here on the channel. Jay, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Jay said, not going to lie, not only do I like web slingers, I still like Buzz Lightyear. It's not great, but I like it. Hey, that's cool. That's cool.
Jay, I love you, bro, but get out.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Actually, web slingers, we did have a fun time that last time.
We did with our tour guide, Jack. I think, honestly, she put like a new perspective of how we see web slingers, because I think the way that she approaches the attraction, like she took off her jacket, she put up her hair, she rolled up her sleeves. She's like, oh, I've like done this so many times. Like, this isn't my first rodeo. And it was like, I don't know, she kind of hyped it up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. No, it's cool. It's cool. I don't hate it. I just think that I think for a Spider-Man ride, I think there was a lot of lost opportunity there, but it's still fun. It's still a good time. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. But I want to thank everybody who joined us today. We had a really good time talking shop, and this live stream was kind of our redemption arc from the last one, because the last one, I don't know if you guys checked out the last one from a week ago, but OG was having some internet issues, and it created all kinds of a mess here. I was in, I was out, I was in, I was out, but this time we went smooth. We, dare I say, George, we made it look easy, There we go. But yeah, and actually, friendly reminder, programming note, next Saturday, that Make It Look Easy girls, La Seraphim, will be performing at Coachella. Check them out. They are awesome. We love them here on the channel. They are amazing. La Seraphim.
And also, as another note as well, that next Saturday, this Italiano is going to be in California. So anybody who is out in the area at in Anaheim at Disneyland, also Universal on one of the days, definitely, please, you see me, come say hi. I'm going to be with the OG55 crew. Well, some of us on certain different days and everything. Everyone I know got different schedules and everything, but if you're in the area, definitely hit us up. We'll see what we could do. What we could do.
Yep, George is coming to California, everybody.
Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
There we go, the Wild Wild West. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55 Live. We had a really good time. Thank you all so much. George, I'm going to leave it up to you, man. How are we going to close out this show? We haven't done a closeout like this in a while. Are we going to do Carl Jr.? We're going to do, I don't know. Should we just play the No Vacancy trailer? Jay Shear's No Vacancy trailer? We can drop that right now?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, this is for you, Jay.
Jay is family here at OG55. Like I said, he's host of the Story Geek Show. He's coming out with a short film called No Vacancy. Okay, we're going to keep everybody updated here on the channel when it does drop, and we'll have like a watch party. We'll have Jay on, but we're gonna play now the trailer for No Vacancy. Jay Shear right now. Everybody, thank you so much. After the trailer, we're going to close out the live show. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55. Big shout out to Jay Shear. Here we go. No Vacancy.
Today's guest, a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist whose work has literally changed the world.
What is it?
A fortune has been spent trying to answer that question.
How did you track it to me?
Let's not draw this out.
Dropping out of the political landscape to focus solely on covering a new phenomenon, the rise of superpowered humans.
We should forgive our enemies, but not before they're hanged.
I know who you are, Lazarus!
Truth is a dangerous weapon.
Sometimes I wish you would just trust me.
Was it worth it?
Like Miss Larson. Everything's fiction. The question is whether or not it's to be believed.
Lee Larson, welcome.
What advice would you give to a newbie?
My advice? Screw journalism.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.